Bill was complaining nobody was voting in the referendum.
Don't mind me, Sharon. I'm looking at double screens here, so it's kind of confusing.
Oh, that's what you're doing. But hello, good evening.
Okay, that's better. I have dual monitors.
I do too.
Yeah, because I didn't used to, but with planning and zoning, I need it because I'm switching back and forth, and so I had the Zoom was on the one to the left, and then I figured out how to get it over here.
Yeah, I have two because I open up last year's tax when I'm doing this year's.
Oh, okay, yep,
I have on my screen to the left the agenda.
yeah, that's what I have now too.
Yeah, which Ed still shares to us and we can't read it, but I have my agenda on one
Yeah,
screen.
that's what yeah, so it's easier with two screens. I used to have the agenda up, and then I have the agenda up, and I would have minutes up, and then I would have Zoom up. And so all on one screen was
How's
crazy.
that going with trying to fill that committee? Besides the
Well,
fact that they don't want anybody.
Planning and zoning, oh, it's an adventure. It's an adventure.
Hmm.
Yeah, they didn't want Hillary, and then the person they thought they wanted turned out to be a anti-government, anti-government racist Islamophobe. So that didn't work out real well for him.
Why didn't they want Hillary?
I don't know.
I know they were using some comments on affordable housing against her.
Yeah, but I think it's at some point in the past, Hillary and Andra had some words, had some conflict, and you know what happens when women don't like each other. It lasts forever. I know with men, we have words and we're out drinking the next night.
Not always.
Not always, but yeah. So
No.
I think it had something to do with that.
I know, but Bill Saums doesn't back her being on it.
Yeah, and that was a little. I don't know what that was about either. I mean, his point was he tried to make the point that we shouldn't express our opinions because we're judges, but we're not. We're regulators. We're not judges. We don't weigh evidence. We write regulations and then we apply the regulations.
And
in
if
addition,
you don't have enough people on that commission, you're going to not be able to get anything done.
We're all right now. We have 6.
Okay.
So we need 2.
Do you have good people on there with you though?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah. The newest person is Paul Whitescarver, who's the retired CO of the sub base. and he's now he's now the executive director of the Eastern Connecticut, Southeastern Connecticut Regional Economic Development, whatever that thing
Okay.
is.
Yep.
So Paul's that, and he's good. And then Jim Warak is the other one, and he's the other alternate, so he's not a voter.
Oh.
And then Paul will be named a voter in March.
Hi,
So-
Jim.
There's Jim. Ray's on too, I think. We'll
Yep.
probably get Ed. There's
Oh.
Manir.
Is Manir. Oh, Ed either gets on too early and screws everybody up, or he gets
Right.
on like too late.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just me and Christina for a few minutes until you came on, Tony. I always get on early because I don't want to have to worry about Ed not letting me in.
I know.
My husband has this timer that goes off at 1:15 to remind me of the meeting.
Yeah.
So pretty much we start to get on at 1:15 because otherwise I just will not remember the meeting. I'll be working and next thing I know it's 7:30. Oh, I missed my meeting.
So that's what I'll do. I'll get on about 6:48.
Yeah.
So then now we need the chairman, among other people.
So I didn't bother to read the minutes because you said you corrected them. So I figure you probably got everything.
Yeah, most of them were just editorial things,
Yeah.
a comma misplaced or an incomplete sentence or something like that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Like somebody else should do the minutes and see if they can do better, you know?
So, and it was, as I noted, it was tough for Christina
comes Ed.
last month because the audio was bad.
Yeah.
For some reason. It's usually not bad. She said the audio, she just had trouble listening to the audio. And then she could hear me typing. So I'm going to ask people tonight, if you see that I have not muted my mic, remind me to mute my mic. Otherwise, you can't hear the sound of me typing, but apparently it
No,
goes
I
through my
can.
computer. Oh, can you then to remind me to mute it? Because she said with the audio being so poor, and then the sound of me typing, she's trying to figure out, and there are some things she just couldn't hear. You know, she listened a couple of times, just couldn't figure out what it was. So it was a tough week for her.
Ed,
But
you
anyway.
look like a ghost today.
He does. He's got a funny light.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't move it. My desk is really set up for Zoom. I have a large, huge TV screen that's all white. So it casts a light on my
Quite a
face.
shadow. You really look like a ghost.
You do.
Yeah, the only way I can do it is put a black screen on here, which right now I'm looking at the minutes. It's all white.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
That's okay.
We have Manir on. I see Ray. James Ball is on. Waiting for, I hope, Bill and Terry.
Christina just said, do you know who Kathleen Bank is?
No.
Kathleen Banks.
Yeah, it looked like, but I assume we should let anybody in who wants to come, right? It's a public
Oh,
meeting.
yeah. I mean,
Kathleen Banks would be Steve Banks' wife, so maybe it's Steve
oh,
Banks.
it's Steve. That's Steve.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's Steve.
All right, it's Steve. I'll put that. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll say
that's
yes.
right. Yeah, Steve said he was going to be there.
I'll say, yeah. So she'll.
Well, we got 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. There's Steve. Alias.
Hi.
Kathleen.
Cool. Let's see.
Steve, they got a little confused. They didn't know who Kathleen Banks was.
Yeah.
I
That's
said,
not
I
gonna
think I
Yeah.
think that's Steve's wife. And then they said, oh yeah, he's supposed to be here.
I like your background, Sharon. I like that. I wish I was there right now.
So don't I. This was taken in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean off our balcony at a sunset. And boy, do I wish I was there right now.
Nice.
And we still need Stan and Terry, right?
Yeah, we
Bill.
need Bill, Stan, and Terry.
And Ian's coming too.
And Jeremy should be here too.
Yeah, Ian's coming.
Right, because we got the budget to
Jeremy.
discuss, and we got a lot of things to discuss, actually, unfortunately.
Quickly.
Well, some of it'll be quick. Some of it's not gonna be so quick, I think. There is some good news in our meeting today that we had with Smith and Lovelace, so that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Gotta go share my screen. Oh, who else joined? Stan, there's Stan. Excellent. Just waiting for,
Hello.
hello, waiting for Terry. Oh, there's Bill.
Are we all in the same meeting tonight?
It's Ian.
What a great idea.
Yes,
I
we
was
are.
very,
Plan.
I was very hesitant in clicking the link. I was
Tony and
wondering
were
where
out
I'd
here
end
waiting
up.
for all of you guys.
Yeah, I was hoping I wouldn't end up in La La Land.
Well, I double checked them. I checked one against the other to make sure they're identical this time. So I knew we were good.
Ed did that too.
Yeah. Well, I always rely on the agenda on the website. It seems to work. All right, is Terry going to show up or, well, he's got a minute. Oh, Jeremy's here. Ooh.
I'll give him a minute or so here.
Yes. Mo Durant.
Yes, well, was that? Gotta check something. Is that? No,
Yeah, it's still such a 6:59.
yeah,
We got a note now that says Ed Lynch is the host now, so Ed, you
Oh, I
gotta
gotta
watch the
watch.
people.
He's a
Yeah.
hospitable guy.
Yeah,
well, that's a mistake.
I'm tired of getting emails during the meeting say, Ed won't let me in.
You know what? It'll be Terry phoning me.
Everybody's texting each other trying to get in.
I don't see
We
any.
only have one meeting today.
Yeah, I know. You see, it sent out a WebEx one as well. Somehow the system did. It said WebEx meeting changed, whereas we're not using WebEx. I don't know where that came from.
I'm still not seeing Terry.
It's just barely 7 if you want to give him a minute. He's probably lying out in the sun somewhere.
Well, I know he's had some trouble connecting over the past.
Let me get set up here, and if he's not here
Right.
by the time I'm set up, if he comes, he just,
Yeah. Oops. All right. I don't see anybody waiting.
just give me a second. This thing's messing up on me again.
While we're waiting, you guys can run out and vote for the school roofs if you haven't already.
Already voted today.
All right.
When Barbara showed up, it was a 2 or 3. It was only like 63 people, Bill.
Yeah, so it was 100. Kathy was number 100.
Ah,
And then later on today, like an hour later, there were 150 that voted.
boy. Not a lot of people.
There wasn't a lot of people that knew anything about it.
It
No,
was not well publicized.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm not blaming anybody for that, but it really, I mean, it was in the paper, but it really isn't that well publicized, and that's
Yep.
why people didn't vote. And it's a weird time. We've never had a referendum in February.
Right.
But now I had no idea there was even a vote on
I
anything.
see. My
Exactly.
son came over
Yeah.
today, and I asked him, and he said, no, I didn't know nothing about it.
Who didn't know?
Ah,
Sharon?
Jeffrey didn't know.
Wow.
Can you guys hear me?
yes.
Okay, I may have to stay. I may not be able to mute, but give me a second. I'll get the minutes up. I've got an issue with my computer here.
Yeah, it's 7:02 now, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
go ahead. I'll
Okay,
get
so
my
I'm gonna
minutes up.
call the meeting of the WPCA for February 22nd, 2022 at 7:02 to order, call the meeting to order. We have present Sharon Wadecki, Ed Lynch, Tony Capone, Stan Huber, And I guess we have alternates Jeremy Norris and James Ball. Also
Jim
present.
will, yeah, Jim will be the voting member.
Yeah, Jim, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, we have Manir too. He's on his phone. Let's see, what else? What happened to, oh, there's Ray and Councilman Bill Saums. And I think we have a person of the public, Mo Durant.
Pardon?
We have our assistant finance director, Ian.
Oh, that's right, Ian. How can I
Oh,
forget
Ian.
Ian?
Hi, Ian.
Nobody recognized him with that beard.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I think he looks good.
Yeah, he
Steve
does.
is,
That's a great
Steve
beard.
is on here as well. He's
Yeah.
Kathleen.
Oh, that's
Thanks,
right.
yes, yes.
Steve,
They know
yeah.
I beat you on it this time, Ian.
My computer had an update, so there was an unexpected delay. I hopped on probably about 20 minutes ago, and my computer was like, "Oh, I'm going to take 15 minutes to update." So
Okay, so I will open up the meeting for any residents or property owners who wish to speak. You may do so now. I'm assuming there's a delay here. Anyone? Okay, well, I don't hear anyone, so I guess we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of January 25th, 2022.
So moved.
So moved by Sharon. I'll second it. Any corrections, additions, or deletions?
Tony took care of those.
They seem to have.
Looks
I didn't
good.
see anything else. They look pretty good. All right. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of January 25th, 2022 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? Hearing none, it's unanimously approved. 5-0. I'm going to share, I should share my screen. Let me, where are we? Right here. This is the, can you see it? Yes, it's on there. All right, the next is, there's no service correspondence. I will share the age reports. I have no comments. Actually, it's looking pretty good. Collected 109,000.
15,000 passed too. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good, actually. Collections are doing well. I will share the water year to date. Looking more. I didn't see anything unusual. And sewer year to date, share that unless there's any comments. You get down to the bottom here.
Ed, if I may, I just want to bring something up now that we're
Go ahead.
going to be speaking to the sewer budget for next year later in this meeting. I just want to call to everybody's attention the usage collection. So
Yeah.
so right now it looks like we're just on point to maybe hit $500,000 in collections for usage for sewer this year. Just to keep that number in mind, I know that there's a rate increase coming in July, but projecting out to the June 30th, it looks like this year we will just we'll probably be a little bit shy, but that's about what I'm projecting for this year for collections for usage.
What was the budgeted for this year? For starting.
513, it looks like you had it on right there.
Yeah, 513, right. So that's going to influence the motion tonight. I don't. Yeah, see, that's okay. Well, we'll discuss that when we come down to that. I don't want to bring it up now.
Yeah,
All right.
I just thought it was a good point to just at least point that out now, so that way later in the meeting when we're discussing next year's budget, we have that figure in mind.
Right. Okay. Okay. And the next thing is, let me just share this. This is the operation report by Steve. Let's see, what was, So, all right, so the overtime budget took a hit because of the decanter issue, which is
Right.
resolved. And then we did have a meeting today, which we'll discuss at item 4 in old business. All right, so let's go to old business, and Ray, you're on the spot. Are we ever gonna get Stanford Record working, or Steve told me that they're working in New London right now, knocking an apartment down.
Oh, they knocked down Crystal Lake apartment #1 building in the last 2 weeks. We've been in contact with them. And they keep telling us they're gonna come over, and when they come over, it's gonna be so fast. It's amazing, but I haven't seen them. And really, in your contract, there's nothing there to say that they have to come at a certain date. So they're just, the cold weather came, the cold weather's gone. Looks like it's gonna be back, but we've been in contact with him numerous times, and he gives us a good story, but he hasn't come back yet.
Yeah,
They're making a lot more money over in New London.
yeah,
That's pretty much, it's, I forgot the $4 million knockdown, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
yeah, we didn't put a time limit. I mean, we don't have anything in the future that's gonna be impacted, so I guess we can't really, we don't have anything to say. So hopefully they'll show up this year.
Yeah,
Commissioners should just Google Stanford Wrecking. There's at least one article in the newspaper about them. And I'll leave it
There
at that.
is.
Yeah, just Google it.
All right, well, I'll do that in our free time. All right, so Ray, I know this is down the road, but we do have a project to look at what it's gonna take to paint the Fairway Water Tower, but I guess we have to look inside it too.
so what I did is I sent the plans, and I've talked to Cortec. We use them along with other towns on doing inspections on tanks. I'm waiting for their estimate. So, and it will be, I talked to them about the $5,000 mark, or 7,000, I forgot what it was. I think it's 7,000 that you would have to get a second or third bid.
Right.
Their prices are well below that. So hopefully the next couple of weeks I can send you something up there.
Yeah, it's tough getting anybody, any contractor to show up, so I appreciate that. It's gonna make it easier to
Yeah,
find out what
So-
we're doing.
they'll get it. It's like, it's almost a maybe a 2-day inspection as fast as they go.
Okay, I'm not, right now, I'm gonna hold off on the other demolition sites, but we do have Sablewood and Village Drive to consider in the future. I know Marcia she wants to get a lot of that off our insurance liability.
Wasn't Steve Maslin using those buildings?
No,
Not
well,
anymore?
well, we offered it to him, but no, he's not using it. And I think he was using Loftus, but I don't even know what he's doing now with that. You're right.
I thought he was using Sablewoods too.
No, I don't think so. No, that building's pretty rotted out. I don't think anybody's using it, except the raccoon.
Yeah.
Or the family of raccoons.
Yeah,
Oh, wait a minute. We think that's what it was we saw. We're not really sure. I saw a dark thing. I didn't see anything.
it smells pretty bad in there, that's for sure.
Yeah, if it was raccoons, we would have been lucky. Okay, so we'll go to number 4, the waste treatment feed pump study. So we had a meeting today. It was really good. Our biggest concern was connecting the automation from their PLC to our General Allen Bradley. And apparently we have a solution, which they're not going to charge us extra for. I mean, that's really, actually, I'm actually stunned at that, because they probably could have charged extra for it, but they didn't. So where we do have, I believe, Steve, we have a specification contract with them, which I marked up to include the Ethernet communication module we needed. So we're ready to go with that. And
Right. So I was gonna bring the agreement to the mayor tomorrow to sign,
okay,
and then they would send us the submittals back, We would have time to review those with all parties involved and then order the unit, and it's to be 14 to 16 weeks. So we're looking at, somewhere around June maybe, which is good because the flows should be much lower and it should be a lot easier to do any bypass pumping if we have to do that.
Right, and Bill, we're going to be presenting, once we have all the information, the construction cost to the building committee. We'll make a presentation. We'll show them what the electrical, automation, and construction costs will be.
Great.
And well, once we get their input, then we'll proceed with that.
Right. I've already spoken with Gary Schneider and he said, that's fine. He said, whatever you guys come up with will probably be, satisfactory for us, but he wanted to look at that. So.
Okay. Let me see if I can get this. I have something I need to share with you guys. I just got today from Matthew, some of the additional engineering and geotech costs for discussion. Hold on here. Let me bring that up. I will submit it to you guys. I'll send you an email on this, but this is what, let's see if I can, okay. Stop the share. Let's see, is it gonna come up? All right, where'd it go? All right, we're having some reason it's not coming up.
There it is.
No, that's not it. That's his answer to the fact that this is included in the construction cost.
Oh.
That's what I needed. What did he do with it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Hopefully it'll come up. There we go. It's slow. All right, so this is, again, engineering services, and it includes, can you see this? The geotech rock investigation. It's up to 5 days of test probes. Anyway, there's a lot of detail here. They need some additional survey in the high school because the trail doesn't go beyond the high school, and we need to survey beyond the high school for phase 3. There's also investigating the route for phase 2. We think we have a utility easement, so we don't have to tear up the road. We're going to investigate that. There's also retaining wall design for the sewer alignment. So they have to go and take a look at the 700 linear feet of retaining wall. And then there's a coordination for property rights and a coordination with utilities. And here's the cost right now, the high school sewer capacity and the Ledyard planning report, the multi-use walking path design change, the geotech rock investigation, supplemental survey, investigate the route for phase 2, retaining wall, property rights, and utility. So it comes up to $128,500. Now, Bill, how do we handle this? This is actually starting on the part of the construction phase of this project. What do we need to do?
Yeah, so I'm not sure, Ed. I'm trying to catch up with the document itself. Because you're going so fast, I can't read.
I'm sorry. Well, let me.
Like speed reading 101 here.
Yeah, right. Come on, guys, take a picture.
Well, let me ask, is this 128,500 over the amount that we already said the project was going to cost?
No, this is part of the construction cost.
So is it more than we estimated for the construction cost?
No, that's why I showed that summary. So we have $388,300 for that part of there's also some planning activity. The actual construction is $886,000 in this.
Okay, well, I guess I'm asking the question because there isn't anything for us to do if it's part of the construction cost other than vote to pay the bill when it comes.
Right.
Well, we have to sign this agreement too. See, let me go down here. This needs to be assigned by either me. I guess I guess, I-
No, yeah, I think the mayor has to
The
sign.
mayor had.
Yeah, isn't the mayor signing it?
It's the mayor
Yes.
that signs this document.
Well, yeah, the
Don't
mayor
sign
sign it.
anything.
yeah. All right, so I will, yeah, I'll make sure the mayor has a copy of this, but it's within the budgeted amount that we had originally shown the town in terms of the ARPA funding. So this
So-
is not above
So
above
Ed,
that.
Ed, we had that meeting with Weston and Sampson a few weeks ago.
Yes,
And the mayor and the planner and the finance director. So maybe it's time to reconvene that meeting and say, who signs this? And this is part of the project. So where's it being billed? Is it under the approved funding or is it separate?
yeah, it's being.
I don't know
billed.
the answer to that. So-
Well, I mean, I asked that. If you look at it, I asked Matthew that and he said, yes, it's under engineering. So this
Okay.
128,000 is under the 388,300 allocated.
Okay,
So it's not, it doesn't exceed the 388. I guess they're anticipating some additional engineering cost. I'm sure it's going to be on site engineering when they do the construction.
so is Matthew asking the town to sign it for Weston and Sampson?
Yeah, because they want to proceed with, for example, this geotech rock investigation in March, April.
Yeah,
That
okay,
wasn't part of their original contract. So this is what they want. It's an amendment. So they need to have it signed by the town, which would be the mayor, to
Right.
allow them to go forward.
Right, and for example, the supplemental survey at the high school is actually part of the project because again, the trail only goes to the high school. They need to survey where it's gonna tie into the high school and then go beyond. This is that phase 3 that goes all the way to Pennywise.
Mhm.
So that has to be done. And then there's some additional work. Well, they're gonna look, this is actually part of this, he's calling it phase 2. This is part of the extension to Pennywise where we had recommended, instead of tearing up the road, which would save a lot of money, we look at that utility easement from the high school that goes down Gallup Hill Road.
right.
Yeah, if you take a
So-
look, if you drive and take a look on the, let's say you go into the high school, you take a look to the left, you will see a utility pole going down through a property line, going all the way in the back.
Right, so we talked about that at the last meeting. I think you need to reconvene that meeting because I do not know who's paying for this. And I understand it's part of the contract, but you need to know from the finance director, the mayor, and maybe the town council and the WPCA, who signs off on this. Sounds like the mayor,
Yep,
and then it has to be a legislative file to the WPCA to authorize the mayor to sign.
okay. I'll take care of that.
Yeah, I'd ask for another meeting to
Okay.
figure this out.
All right. We're done with that. Get back to the agenda. Oops. Wrong one. There we go. All right, so I don't think, well, if you go to the operator report, which I kind of skipped over, where was the operator report? Oh, here it is right here. Let me go back to this. You will see that there was a break in Meeting House Lane, 6-inch cast iron pipe. They were down for 12 hours and they had to dig 9.5 feet. So I only bring that up because that kind of falls under the replacement of Highlands water main status.
So
So Bill-
is that where we are on the agenda or?
Yes, that's where we're on the, I'm sorry, that's where we are on the agenda. Number 6 is the replacement of the Highland and I'm just emphasizing a point that we're losing ground here.
Yeah, so I asked the Public Works Director if he kept records on how many main breaks we've
Yeah.
had to repair. And he punted that to Groton Utilities. And I said, well, we need to compare it to Squaw. So do you have any records? And I haven't got any more information. My thought was, depending on the water company, do we need to take action faster, or does SQUA need to take action faster? But either way, we put the Highlands water main system renovation on the ARPA funds project, but we didn't fund it as of right now because we don't have estimates. And number two, more importantly, we think that there are probably drinking water funds available to do that, which we should apply for. So there is no plan to immediately take action, but I'd like to get some kind of a track record on how many mains have broken, how many times we've dug up the streets. And I'm kind of at a stop with that. I don't know where to get more information.
I thought Ray.
Bill, I supplied that last 2 months ago. I supplied a map that shows all the breaks in the area and our
Okay.
report. If you
Okay.
need to, I can submit it again.
No,
I'll send
I'll
you
go
the
look
whole
for it. I
plan.
apologize. Right. So you sent it by email?
Yeah, I sent it to the commission and it was up on one of the meetings, I think a couple months ago. Everybody
Okay.
had it and we went through it. I also gave you an estimate for replacement.
Okay, let me go
That-
find it. I
That's
totally.
where the $2 million came from, Bill.
Right.
Right.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's where we got the $2 million, which
Yeah.
we brought in utilities. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I would think that the infrastructure thing that was passed might have some money from the state too. So anyway, it certainly would qualify.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll go look for that.
all right, good. Now, item 7, if there's no other discussion, item 7, we're gonna work on next month. It's status. We do have updated information on the contracts for Groton utilities, both operation and the customer service. I believe the minutes were corrected to include, they're going to be combined. The request is going to be both for service and operations. So Ray, you will only see one request for quote
Okay.
for both.
Yep.
And I think that makes sense to me.
That's correct, Ed. We did change the minutes to reflect that it's one project and they're gonna have the same effective dates and ending dates.
Right. Now, I'd like to make an amendment to the new business agenda to include, and I'll bring that information up. Item 3 would be a request has been made to us to provide water off a piece of property in Route 12. And when we get to that discussion, you'll see why that's somewhat complicated. So now we're going to go and talk about the sewer budget. Now, the data, let me bring up this worksheet. We can do this because I was working off of a different spreadsheet than, I was working off the spreadsheet that Ian provided. Let me see, where is it? Why isn't it coming up? Oh, hold on. I'm going to have to share this so you guys can see it. Okay. All right, let me put it over here. I don't think you can see it yet until I stop sharing this. Whoops, why isn't that? Okay, there we go. All right, hold on. New share. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. All right, so this is the 2023 budget. You can see it. The green is some things that this one we left alone. So we increased a little bit of the where's the line, the electrician, because we seem to be using more electrician in the past. We've also, because of the price of gas and natural gas and propane and gasoline and diesel, we've increased that a little bit. And I know everybody's looked at the utility bill from Eversource and have seen an increase in utilities. although we have that mitigated by solar, but still, so we've increased a little bit of each one of these. Which one? So the green was just a little bit of an increase in what we had before. So for example, the maintenance of main, is that maintenance of mains? No, the meter. Trying to get, okay, maintenance of mains, we increased like $500. It wasn't, there weren't major increases. Okay, except, why is this?
So the change isn't showing up there. You went from
What?
2,500 to 3,000 and the
Yes.
change column, it doesn't show up.
It doesn't show the green?
No, the green shows, but to the right,
Oh, the change, yeah, you're right. I don't know what happened there.
3,000 is not an increase to that line.
Yeah. That's not an
oh, I
increase.
see, okay,
Okay.
yeah. I'm
That's
looking
not
at
an
the
increase,
covered.
you're right.
Yeah.
And the
So-
40 Right,
So not to interrupt, but Ed and I did go back and forth quite a bit with this budget because he presented me with a spreadsheet that he had proposed increases to a number of different line items. Steve and I went through it conservatively to try and not increase it as much as Ed was looking to, just because I'm weary to increase this budget too much because, you know, as like I was pointing out before, we budgeted 513 this year. We're gonna hit around 500. I'm not even sure if we're gonna really hit that benchmark. So I'm a little weary on increasing this by too much, even though I do know that there is a rate increase coming in July. So we will see an increase in collections, but I don't know that we'll see a $28,000 increase.
All right, I got one question. Steve, are you
Yeah.
happy with this budget?
We are, and then we've had a lot of discussions about it.
Well, the
And
budget that I have
We
is,
wanted to update we wanted to upgrade or increase the CNR. And Ed and I have spoke with this, and I would love to do that. And I think I say this, I've been saying this every year for the past 20 years.
Right.
Unfortunately, what Ian's saying is correct. We
Mhm.
have to match the revenue that's coming in with the expenses that are going out. And we really can't put a budget that's, 30 or whatever, X amount of dollars over. We've been underfunding that, we know that. But, it always comes down to catch as catch can. And with the help of Ian, we've been able to do that. And yes, I think the numbers that Ian and I had changed, I think those are good numbers.
So Ed,
Yes.
I would like to propose passing that budget. We don't need to discuss line for line. If Steve's happy with it and Ian's worked with it, that's about the best budget we're gonna be looking at.
Right,
Yeah,
but but
the
I don't know
only-
I don't know where we left the CNR. I don't know where we put that.
yeah, the only thing that's different between what I have in front of me and what Ed has pulled up here is that contribution to CNR. I kept it at 20,000 and it looks like Ed was just kind of rounding off the increase. The motion that's on the agenda states just the operational budget. So if a motion is made, I would suggest that you use the 637,000 number on the bottom. That's the total budget, which includes debt. And debt is paid out of the sewer fund, but it's subsidized by the general fund. So I really want to consider that like operational costs, just because the usage billing doesn't cover that.
right, so I wanted to make sure, to be honest, I didn't want it to go more than 3% increase on our usage fees. But I guess that's hard to do because
Yeah.
that is a function of how much water is used. And if we have a drought year, we get more money. We have a wet year like we just did, we get less money. So it's a struggle to keep, Bill, we're gonna have to go to public hearing and we're gonna have to come up with a % of increase. And,
Public hearing for water, not for sewer.
oh, that's right. We don't need to do it for sewer. So that
No.
actually saves our butt. Okay, good.
So
Yeah.
28,000 as a percentage of 500,000 is a 5.6% increase.
Right.
And if you only have a 3% rate increase partway through the year, or is it the start of the year?
Yeah, so we can knock $3,809 off of that. So it would be something.
That would bring us to 524,883.
Yeah, 524,883. What is that in percent?
Uh,
Budgetarily, it's about a 2.26%. if you're taking the 513,000, but like Bill said, if we're just looking at what we actually will probably collect this year from the from like what I predict to be about around 500,000 in collection, I'm not sure what that number is, but it's probably close to 5%.
Yeah, so if you had a $28,000 increase in the budget and you collected 500,000, that's 5.6% increase.
Right. So, I mean, we can bring that down to 524, but it's still a pretty big operational increase.
Yeah, does that bring it down? Does that bring it closer to 3?
4.8.
Yeah, I want to make it easier for our service group to just do a 3% of water and sewer, but it doesn't seem to work. I mean, it's going to be hard to cut back on things we can't come back on in terms of whether health insurance or salary. We have no control over that. I can cut back on some of these other things.
Yeah,
So
they're predicting
back to Sharon's question, if Ian and Steve are comfortable that it's a responsible budget, it means that you have to ask for a rate increase for sewer.
Yes,
You have to, not ask, you have to implement.
we have to implement it.
Yeah,
Right.
Because the costs are going up. There's nothing you can do about that.
correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there were a lot of years where rate increases probably should have occurred, but didn't. So, you know, Steve and I have been kind of cutting short every year a little bit with revenue. I thought there is a rate increase scheduled for July. Is there not?
Yeah, there is for water.
Oh, it's only water. I thought it was both.
No, I mean,
But if you increase water, sewer goes up, doesn't it?
That's right.
yeah, if we let it go right across, Bill, that's correct. Sewer will go up.
And it's 3% for water?
Yep.
Yeah,
And
so-
it'll be equivalent to 3% on sewer if we let it go right across.
Yeah.
But
So
it
here-
wouldn't be all the sewer because not all the water people have sewer. so-
Right, correct.
That's correct.
So what's happened in the past is if you didn't pass along these incremental increases in costs, it got taken out of contribution to CNR, and then
That's right.
you aren't setting aside for the future.
That's right.
So you have to cover costs.
Yeah, one year, I mean, Steve and I didn't really have much of a choice. We had to drain that line all the way down to 0 one year, I think.
Mhm.
And that's, you know, for years, we've been saying that's, you got to pay for the future.
Right.
WPCA has been doing that. We can't go backwards and stop doing it.
Yeah, but we can't also, I mean, the problem is we're not going to make up for the fact that rate increases didn't happen for all those years by
Right.
just slamming
Yeah.
it, bang, bang, bang.
Right. You can't do it all at once. You can't put that on people.
Yeah, incremental.
Right.
All right, so are we, it looks like, Ms. Sharon, you're saying we're comfortable with the motion, the way it's specified? And then just move on? Whoops, what did I do with that?
We could debate this, we could debate every line item, we could do all these things, but I think that Steve and Ian have already done that.
We have.
Steve has always given us a very responsible budget. He's done a great job handling his budget, and Ian and Steve are working together. So I don't want to sit here and say I don't agree with one line item on their budget because they put all the time into it. We're just looking at it.
Right. It all comes down to the CNR. I mean, that's the whole thing. Everything else we can show by, you know, what we spent to date. We're, you know, every penny's going to what we need to run the place. And it's just a matter of whatever we have left over in that CNR, we have to try to dump every penny into like Bill said, into that revolving account. And that's kind of where we are.
But
So-
it may necessitate at some point raising the sewer rates more than the water rates.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, if we're gonna do the water rates 3%, maybe we want to do the sewer rate 4%. So we don't hit as big of an increase to try to
Right.
smooth it out.
Mhm.
And then
Yep.
do it again next year and try to get the sewer budget. I mean, you can't cut it any leaner than you already cut.
No,
it.
that's the thing. And then with us, we have a fixed number of customers that has not grown. You know,
Right.
hopefully the Ledyard Center project's going to come through, and that's going to add a few more customers for the sewer. Water has had the, you know, not the luxury, but they certainly have had a lot more
Yeah.
customers over the years than the sewer has. We have like whatever, I forget the number of customers that we have, but that's it. And there's no more. And you can't ask those X number of customers, for a 12% increase so we can fund the CNR to the DEP guidelines. It's really not, fair to do that to the people.
The CNR as proposed is, the contribution to it is less than 1%.
That's crazy.
I know, but
Yeah, it
what are
is.
you gonna, the other. clubs
Sorry,
don't
let me
fit.
clarify. The
No, it's
percentage
more than
increase is less than 1%. So,
If it was 20,000, Bill, that would be 20,000 of say 500. What is that number? I don't have it.
so,
Yeah.
so let me say that again. The difference from what was proposed and what is being proposed
Oh, I
is
see, yeah.
$3,800. So
Right.
$3,800 is less than 1% of the
Right.
total budget.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, it's squeezed.
Yeah,
So
so
the
that's not a
motion,
big deal.
yeah,
And what
the
the
motion-
state recommends between like 7 and 10% of your total budget. That's what
Right.
you should be setting aside for your CNR each year.
So we're really looking at cost increases. And Ian, part of that's got to be debt because we spent a lot of money on the plant, right?
Well, we
Uh,
did the 2017.
Well, you don't have to really
Upgrade.
worry about the debt because the debt is subsidized by the general fund.
right,
Oh, okay.
So that's why you see at the bottom there, the total budget amount is like 637,000. But I've been telling Ed if he really wants to get a better picture of like the operational budget, just to look at that usage line, because the usage line is what really covers everything else other than the debt.
So is it, I'm looking at 687.
Yes, 687.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's pretty small on my screen. I'm trying to like look at two different
Okay.
screens right now.
Yeah.
Pretty small on all our screens, Ian.
want me to get it bigger? How do I do
And we're
that?
older than you,
No.
Ian.
No, it's
Right.
fine, Ed. We can read it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So bottom line, everything else aside, you've got cost increases that are unavoidable. which
That's
you got
correct.
to pass along.
Correct.
Health
That's right.
insurance is going up 8% this year.
There you go.
Yeah,
Which was more than we expected it to.
Yeah, I think I originally budgeted 5.
Wow.
So
Which was still high.
still, yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
been the trend though for the past as long as I can think, as long as I can
10%.
remember for the past
Yeah.
7 years. It's been between like 5 and 8% for quite a while every year.
Yeah,
Where
so
did
I'm
the
not.
where
I-
did that where did the 3% number come from?
It actually came from the usage, what we collect. That's where that number came from. So it was the incremental between 513 and 528. So if you
Okay.
do, if
But
you do
Ian
that-
thinks that the real number is gonna be 500,000, right?
Right.
So
Right.
why don't we set that line to 500,000 and let the rate increase work out to whatever it is?
Yeah.
I think that'd be too big of a rate increase, Stan, to do in 1 year. I think we gotta smooth it out, like we have to raise it a few times in a row. Because if you do that, that's like gonna be like
Yeah.
15% rate increase in these.
Yeah.
That's a little high to pass on.
Yeah, I think if we continue the way we've been doing it, let's see what happens with Ledyard Center. I mean, if that comes in a couple of years and we have more billable customers in sewer, things might change a little bit, and then, Ian and I will work our shell game like we always do at the end of the year and make it work. And then whatever we have left over, we'll put it into the CNR.
Yeah, so I have to modify the motion to be the 687, 380, 368.97 with and Bill calculated a 4.8%. Is that what it came out to?
Um,
I think.
no. So based on a $500,000 revenue instead of 513.
Right.
I think you mentioned a $28,000 increase.
Right. So I'm gonna do 692.
So that's a 5.6% increase in expense.
Yeah, 5.6%. That's correct.
So
I mean,
what
that's-
we're
that's
really
less than
doing
what
is lowering
inflation-
revenue and increasing expense at the same time.
But what we're comparing here, though, is we should be comparing budget to budget. So we shouldn't be comparing the projected budget for next year with what we think the expenses this year will be. What is the increase in this year's budget relative to last year's budget is what that percent number should be, which is not going to be the same thing as what the rate increase is going to be.
Yeah, I think it's the revenue though, Tony. Because the Ian is projected.
I'm sorry, right. But that should be compared to the projected, since it's budget to budget, it should be compared to the budget from last year, which is 5 something, right?
Yep.
Not what Ian thinks it's actually going to be, which is 500,000. We're doing budget to budget. That's
Yeah.
it's a technical distinction.
Right, so if you divide 15,398 by the 513, that's where the 3% came from.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
And-
it's budget to
and
budget,
right,
not budget to actual.
Right, I was only looking at budget. I was not looking at projection. I didn't.
Right. Yeah, and that's my
I can only
point.
Deal with the numbers I got.
The 3% increase was a 3% increase in the budget.
Right.
Yeah, that's where that came from.
That's not the lie. You're right. I'm saying this is a 3% budget increase. In actuality, it could be more. And I mean, guys, what is it? What's the inflation right now? 7-8%?
Yeah, so even if it was 5% and change, that would be less than the rate of inflation.
Right. So I'm not too concerned about it. If we're not lying by saying it's a 3% based on budget to budget, but it might be more, but it's not, hopefully it's not going to be more than what we're facing with inflation right now. So, all right, well, any other further discussion before I make the motion, which I got to go back to?
And you don't have to put the increase of how much the budget's increased.
don't?
Motion. We have to approve the dollar amount.
Right.
Exactly.
So don't put any percentage in there, but as a committee, we have to be aware that at some point, we're gonna have to discuss sewer rate increase.
Right.
Good point. Thank you. So I'll just take that part out of the motion.
Yeah, just take that out of the motion.
And is it still going to be 528, whatever it says? I can't see both screens simultaneously.
No, I'm gonna do what Ian recommends, and it's gonna be $687,368.97.
Okay, that's with the extra money going into CNR. Are we gonna put that, are we gonna keep that
Yes.
in the budget or are we gonna take it out?
That was with the extra money.
Okay,
There's no change from what I showed you there.
All right.
The only change is we're not doing it at 528, so I gotta go back.
second,
All right, any other discussion? Let me go back to, there we go.
Yeah, hold on. I need to get the dollar amount. I was muted, so let me jump back to my other screen and you can read the dollar amount to me.
All right,
Give me a
the
second.
dollar amount for the budget is gonna be $687,368.97.
687.
368.97.
Okay, and let me just do my last edit here. And I'll be ready to go. And Sharon made the motion, Ed seconded? Is that?
no, Ed made the motion, I seconded it.
All right, that's what it usually is, so. That's sort of
Any
our
other
standard.
discussions, guys, on this? If not, we're gonna entertain a vote here. So all those in favor of the school budget?
Say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, the budget
Thank you,
passed.
Steve. Thank you so
Okay.
much. You did such a good
You're
job on
welcome.
that budget.
Thanks, Sharon.
Okay, now the water budget.
Oh, I'm done with budgets now.
Yeah, no, you're not.
The water budget's easy. You almost can't screw it up because it's money coming, we pay for the water and then we bill out for the water. There's very little anything complicated about it. You can't really mess it up.
Yeah, I gotta
So we
make sure
have to
that,
do a rate increase.
yeah, we have to do it. We're doing a rate increase of 3%, right? The 3% is from a couple of things. One is we're paying more for raw water. And to round it out to 3%, I'm collecting a little bit more CNR. It's the only change. Well, there are other internal changes that Ian put in there. That was the contract
Right.
for the operating, GU operating and GU discuss service. We have to anticipate there will be an increase. We don't know how much, but we're budgeting for it. What were the other numbers? The raw water. And let me see, was there any other changes he highlighted? No, there was.
The ground utilities one is, we're still in an active contract, so we know how much that is. I
Oh,
pulled
that's
that.
correct. I'm glad you corrected me. Good. Yeah, so we're contracting for it and it is an increase. So the total increase between the two is about 10,000, 7,500 and 3,800. The total increase for the water is around $8,700 and $8,500. And there are some decreases but that's interest. Let's not get gummed up on that. And then I make it a nice round 3% increase. I added $9,000 to CNR. So we're collecting 121, but remember 21 of that, it goes to Mountville. So we're only adding $9,000 instead of 120.
Ed, you were so generous.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sharon, I'm worried about the $1 million painting job that we're gonna have to do.
Oh, I'm with you on that. That's gonna be a problem.
I'm really, really concerned painting that tank. That's gonna break the bank. We'll have nothing left. Okay, so I think, Ian, I think the number is, hope it's correct, the 1.530 million, 561.49.
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah,
hold
that's
on,
the-
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, I think, I'm looking at the spreadsheet. That's what it said.
That's what the spreadsheet on the agenda said.
Yes. Well, I'll check with Ian, make sure we're right. And that does represent a 3% increase. So that we have to, and we're recommending to the town council bill. And I will be, let's see, I believe it's March 14th. We'll be making that presentation to the finance committee, the budget. And I don't think anybody's going to really complain. Again, with inflation the way it is, we're asking for 3%. Geez. We didn't get anybody last year on the 3.5.
No, we haven't gotten anybody in a while because we're doing them small enough that,
Nobody cares.
well, I wouldn't say they don't care, but when you raise, you get a monthly bill and you raise it a couple of dollars, it's not like, when they were getting quarterly bills, it was much more noticeable.
Yeah. The monthly is kind of spread out.
Yep.
I feel good
Everything
with that
else is
number.
going up.
Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, I feel good with that number. And you know what? The water budget always does very well. It's not like me and Steve with the sewer budget where we kind of have to, at the end
Rob
of the
Peter
last
to
3
pay
months of
Paul.
the fiscal year, we're transferring money just about every day
Yeah.
from this account to that account to cover the, the end of the year. But the water budget, we don't really worry. I don't worry about that budget. And you guys, the revenue comes in great every year. So I'm confident with that number. The 1.5 is good.
And
So
every
Ed, make that
year,
motion.
yeah, go ahead. I'll make the motion. I was gonna say every year we increase the number of users we have too. So,
Yes.
so I want to make the
Yeah.
motion.
Hold on, Ed,
Yeah.
just to be consistent, I will take the percentage amount out of this.
Sure.
So
Correct.
it looks like we did with the sewer budget.
Yeah.
In fact, I've already done that.
I
So
recommend to the Ledyard Town Council a 2022-23 water budget of $1,530,561.49.
Second.
Okay, any other?
So
Discussions on
just a question, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the percentage increase, which is 34,000, right?
Yep,
On a 1.4
I usually go to bed at 8.
96191 budget. That's 2.3%.
well, I did it on the revenues and not on the total.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bill, yeah, so
And that's why we
again,
took
just
that
like
out of the motion.
the sewer
know.
budget, the water budget also has debt that is subsidized by
Got
the general fund.
Got it.
So I don't like to include that in the increase because it's not really technical. I mean, we have to include it in the budget, but it's paid for already.
Okay, I got it. I know I'm gonna get asked, so
Well,
Yeah,
Bill,
yeah, if
Well, Ed's
somebody,
gonna make a presentation, so.
yeah,
if somebody asks you about where you come up with your percent, the increase, the usage revenue line is the best line because that
Yeah.
accurately reflects the operational expenses.
got it.
Okay,
Okay,
that covers the operational expenses, I should say.
I'm good. Thank you.
All right, so all those in favor of the water budget signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing none, it's passed. Okay, now the next item, I have to share my screen because let me see if I can find it. This has to do with what Ray just sent on Route 12.
All right, guys, I'm going to take this opportunity to say thanks.
Yeah,
and
thanks, Ian.
I'm heading,
Thanks, Ian.
heading by.
All right, good, thank
Bye,
you.
Ian.
Have a good
Thanks.
night, everybody. I appreciate
Thanks, Ian.
everybody's help.
See you
Have a
Thanks,
tomorrow.
Ian.
Ian.
All right, I'm gonna do a new share. So you can see
Ed,
that.
give me what you want to call this heading.
This
Hold on,
heading
put it in
is the address is 1764 Route 12 Water Service. I'm showing a picture of this building. And Ray, I can't believe we didn't have a lateral for this building. I don't know how we miss laterals. But this happens to be across the street from Route 12, and unfortunately, the main's on the other side of the road.
Right.
And they want water. And technically, we have to provide it.
So here's two things that popped up with this. This happened awful fast. The site plan that we got from the customer was approved in February 2022. And I sent you a copy of that,
Yeah, I have that. I'm gonna show it.
along with, I guess he's putting in a septic system and working on this building. So he came to us and said, I want water. And the only way, which is, this house is south of Thames View Pentway, which is a very interesting item. There's an 8-inch main that goes across the street to the hydrant on the corner
I
of the
see it.
Pentway,
Yeah, I see the hydrant.
and then it stops. But I talked to Steve Maslin, and nobody owns this road. I don't, it's kind of different, but there's no road up there. There's not a, this town doesn't plow it or anything, I guess. So in talking to that and trying to talk to the state, because of the state right away, if you had to go across that road, it costs you a ton, because you're gonna have to mill the road to make the trench and the whole thing. So we were looking at tying in by the hydrant, in front of the hydrant, not touching the road and being in the grass, because the other person has a service, that garage on the corner has a service from that 8-inch main that he hasn't connected into, but can. And
Okay.
so we would run along the dirt area
I see
to
it.
tie into this house garage situation that's happening. Now, we talked about that, and then he came up and said, well, does Ledyard pay for it? And that's why I brought it to you, because this is over 100 feet from the main. And it's in we've always put meter pits
Right,
after that, anything that's longer than 100 feet, there's a policy of you guys to have, and we like it too, to put a meter pit in.
right.
And so they own it. So I don't know if you just want to put a service and say to the meter pit and then have him run it to there. And I'm looking at like that, there was a picture of a telephone pole.
Yeah, I see it.
There, put the pit in front of there and then run it across. I mean, you're not supposed to run in front of other people's property, but this is a very strange situation, as this has been, I don't even know if this was a lot back when you put the mains in, because the house was there, but this is just a subdivision that just came to us, so
Yeah,
I
It's
don't know.
it's
Is
very
that-
odd. It's got 4
Yeah.
garages underneath it. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't even know. Is this a legal house?
Well, I
That
didn't know.
house has been there for years,
Has
it?
decades.
Yeah. So somebody bought it and they're gonna put people, I know if you try to back out of that driveway, you better have some good blinkers on.
Yeah, what
because-
is this pole? What is this post right? This pole right here?
That says
That's a-
span pole for traffic signal.
Yep,
Oh, so there's a traffic signal there.
Yeah, that's right in front of Dow.
right.
Oh, that's why I didn't. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Ray, I think, yeah, I think I don't know where the property line is. I'm assuming it's somewhere around that pole. You know, we put the meter pit right where you think, makes sense. And yeah, we don't want to go underneath Route 12.
No, that whole thing is a state right away. The customer called the state, they gave him a permit, but I don't know how he did that either. So we're gonna check into all that first. I'll talk to permitting to see if
Okay.
it's all allowed to do that on the side, because they own a sliver of land, the state does. It doesn't come up as a whole state property. For some reason, they got the road and then they have a little triangle, which I don't understand at all, but it's still the state of Connecticut's land. So
Well,
I'll
yeah, I
talk to
mean,
permitting first to see what they suggest, and then we'll
Okay.
just put a meter pit out there and have him do the rest of the.
right.
Now, And I have a
installation.
question. We had the same situation occur on Route 117. I don't know if you remember it, but Peter Gardner had some building lots and we did
Right.
not have any laterals on the road for them. How did we handle that situation then?
We put in the service lateral to, it was, and the main was on his side.
Okay.
Because he built those, the houses on that side,
Okay.
going up 117, I think it was. Yeah,
So,
it was
yeah, so
117.
This would be following the same procedure that we did there where we missed some laterals.
Yeah, we just brought it to the property line and, the Ledyard WPCA paid us to do that part. And then Peter's contractor took it from the property line to his house.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that.
All right, Ray, go ahead and proceed.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything. I have not heard anything from the other, the DPH. That's all been, I guess that's all water under the bridge. I have no idea what they're doing there. I have not heard from them.
He's not asking for a well.
No, but the DPH has been lately not in the mood of giving permits for wells. So, so that's the downside if anybody wants a well permit. They've been,
He's not asking for that. He's asking for us to help him get water.
yeah.
Yeah, his lot is too small to even put a well there because he doesn't have the 75-foot clearance from well to septic system.
Yeah, that's, and they won't give him they won't even entertain a permit for that. I have no other business. Anybody else have anything to talk about? Proceed.
Motion to adjourn.
Short and sweet, Ed, thanks.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give you guys a heads up. I'm gonna be gone for almost 3 weeks, so I will have limited service. I'm going to Iceland and then
that's right.
see the Northern Lights. So if I get too close to the sub base up in Russia and I disappear, well, somebody, Sharon, you will have to take over.
Hopefully that won't happen.
Their radiation will zap you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, you saw 60 Minutes, right? That wasn't
That's
too
it, yeah.
good.
All right.
I mean, you get microwaved. It's like, it's like putting your head in the microwave and turning it on. I mean, what
That's
the?
exactly it.
All right, guys, have a good evening and
Enjoy
thanks.
your trip.
Good night.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Right.
Good night. Bye, everybody.
Bye.